Go, 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 let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick, I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Your bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most, I tell her, little bitch, she so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me, niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers.
Congratulations, you unpolished gems. My data has stated that you all should be the best strikers of Japan that are under 18. Still, all of you are useless as of now to the goal that I was hired to accomplish. My name is Jinpachi Ego, and I was hired in order for Japan to win a World Cup. Here in the Blue Lock facility, one of you very strikers standing in this room will rise up and claim victory for our nation. The words of the man echoed throughout the room until another was heard. A slightly taller teen walked forward and began talking. So, I was invited here at the chance to be trained and become the best in the world. Jinpachi Ego, I want you to be the one to hear my declaration. Japan will be led to their next World Cup by the goals that I score alone. This caused Ego to grin from ear to ear with excitement, as this statement caused many others to decide to join Blue Lock as well. Ego's assistant would ask who that boy was with the dark hair and colored eyes. In time it soon shall be revealed. Just know, he is of the top 100 that we invited here. The next day soon arrives as Yoichi Isagi gets his uniform with his number on it. He looks at it and scoffs. I'd like to change my rank. The woman in front of him tells him that that won't be possible just yet, but he smirks. I'd like for it to go down. This shocks her, and Ego then calls Isagi into his office, as later he walks in to Team Z in the rank 300. This shocks the rest of the people since they remember how he spoke out against everything in the room with everyone, declaring he'd become the best. But here he is, at the bottom of the bottom. They try to speak to him, but he ignores each one of them. Kira then speaks up through the chatter. How are you here? You destroyed my team and the championship for our schools. Isagi then turns to him and looks away. I don't care to explain myself to you. That's okay, because I'll be doing it for you. Ego pops up on the television screen, waving to them. Yoichi Isagi is a special case here in Blue Lock. He was ranked much higher than the rest of you unpolished gems, but he made a deal with me. There's only one true way to prove that he's the best, and that's by defeating the rest of the strikers in this facility, even if that means he has to start at the lowest rank. Kunigami then asked what his rank was before he dropped down all the way to 300. Well, let me think. Based on the data that I remembered, he was in the top 100 range, but even that might have not suit him. At the highest, he would most likely start in the top 25, but forget that. There are too many of you in this room, so let's play a simple game of tag. Whoever is it, by the time runs out, will go home. The ball then lands in front of Isagi. He stands with it under his feet, with no expression on his face. Tell me, what do each of you want to become from this? It won't be the best striker, because in the end, that will be me. Yoichi shouts out that he'll become the best no matter what, and the ball hits him in the stomach. Technically, he was it, but the ball was stolen from him by Isagi. Pathetic. He then turns to Chigiri, who would begin to dash away. Sorry, but you can't catch me. My weapon is speed. He tries to outrun Isagi. However, our protagonist nails him in the back with the ball, and continues to do so for a little bit until Kunigami would try to stop him, and tells him to stop playing dirty. Isagi then stands motionless before punching him in the face, sending him to the ground. Keep your filthy paws off me, you mutt. Isagi then turns to Igarashi. You're one of the worst. No, you're the worst one here. Isagi sends the ball in his direction, and it perfectly curves around his head and nails Kira in the face. The time limit then runs out. Wait, why me? Because I've seen you play. You relied on your teammates to score against my team, as I scored alone, as I always have, because I have the ability to do so. You do not. Ego then kicks Kira out of Blue Lock and out of Team Z. The next day on the outside, we would see Seijuro being interviewed by the press. There's only one striker in Japan who I would wish to play with, but I believe he hasn't even graduated yet, let alone turned 18. Really? Do you mind telling me his name? His name is one that will not be forgotten once he becomes eligible to play for this shitty country. Yoichi Isagi. The interviewer then comments how that was the striker who led his team to the championship and then to regionals. It was a comeback, an amazing one at that. The comeback. Ah, yes, of course. That was the day me and him met. It is my fault that he was late for the game, but he said something that made me want to play with him even more. He said, even if I am not on the pitch, I win, as winning is everything. To lose is to submit to the will of another. Sei then gets up, leaving, as he sees the woman being interviewed about Blue Lock. I wonder, could he be there as well? It then cuts to Isagi, who was training in the facility while others were sleeping or resting. Ego eventually presents them with the matches they have to win to advance, as their first match will be against Team X. Team Z tries to decide who the striker should be, and Isagi says he's the striker of the team, whether they like it or not. They try to argue this, but Isagi says his orders are absolute. The air in the room becomes thin, as they would agree with him. Match day soon arrives as each team walks out. It begins, and the ball is passed to Isagi. 3 people from the opposing team rush forward at him, but his eyes begin to glow. You must think I'm an amateur because of this rank. He then breaks each of their ankles, getting past them into open space. But I'm much more than that. I'm the best damn striker in this facility. Isagi rips a shot into the top corner of the goal, making everyone pause for a moment. What the hell are you all looking at? The game isn't over yet. Haven't even scored a hat trick. Team X starts from the top and gets the ball to Baru. He tries to dribble through the middle, but the ball is stolen by Isagi. You're too simplistic. Isagi then heads forward, dribbling alone through the defenders and gets right in front of the keeper. He fakes a shot, causing him to dive, and then walks the ball in. Pathetic. Well, I did choose to start at the bottom, so it seems my expectations were higher than they should have been in the first place. Team X would try to go through the middle once again, but the ball is stolen by Isagi. He pauses for a moment as he sees someone else who wishes to get a goal. Fine, I'll give you one chance. If you miss it, I won't pass to you again. Isagi then floats the ball to the top left corner, where no one was. It was just open space. Suddenly, red hair was seen flowing from this area, as Chigiri was speeding to the middle and takes a shot. It was blocked by the keeper, but someone was there to recover. What the hell did I tell you about missing a goal when I passed to you? Whatever. You all were born trash anyway. Isagi scores with a scissor kick and slams the ball into the back of the net. He gets up and slowly walks back to his starting position, as Baru was dribbling and then realized something was off. The entire team was defending, and not him. He was the only person who stood at the half-field mark. He could see Isagi just standing there, waiting on him to mess up. In this distraction, the ball is taken from him and passed to Isagi, who traps it with ease. He then flicks it over the head of his defender, causing Baru to sprint that way. He then tries to use his size to push Isagi off of the ball. What the hell? He's like a brick wall. Baru tries again, but Isagi falls and gets a free kick from this. You're such a damn animal, you know that? And dogs don't have any place in football, especially on the pitch alongside me. Isagi begins setting up the ball, as this will be the last thing before halftime happens. He then notices that some of his teammates were running into the box. Oh, there's no need for that, you idiots. I wasn't planning on passing. He kicks the ball and it curves into the top corner, giving him his third goal of the match. In the locker room, Team Z asks Isagi to pass the ball around. He only looks across from him at Bachira. Switch positions with me. Go to striker, and I'll get you a goal. Yoichi yells at Isagi, asking about the rest of them, but Isagi grabs him by the face and slams it into the locker. Watch your tone when addressing me. Isagi then walks from the locker room, and the second half would soon begin. Team X manages to score their first goal, as this shocks Isagi. Not half bad, but in the end, it's all still pointless. The game was decided the moment I put on my jersey. Isagi gets the ball and dribbles through the powerless defense once again, this time chipping it over the last defender. The ball floats in the air and lands right in front of Bachira, who was in position to shoot. Damn, the monster inside of me must really like this guy, because I'm all fired up now. He scores his own goal and walks over to Isagi. Good pass. Just make sure you're ready for the next one. Team X still can barely break through the defense of Team Z, as this leads to Bachira having the ball once again. This is pretty fun. He crosses through two defenders while laughing and scores another goal. Isagi looks towards him, saying Bachira is now allowed to do whatever he wants, as the rest of you can just sit back and play defense. They argue and complain, but the voice of Isagi cuts through the madness. I've told you what to do. Follow my command, as my orders are absolute on this pitch. The next time Team Z gets the ball, Bachira was surrounded, as he hears a voice in his head, and he passes it to the middle, near the top of the box. Isagi steps through the defenders, hitting a volley shot that goes through the gloves of the keeper. This gives him his fourth goal, and also ends the match, with the final score being 6-1. Isagi with 4 goals, and Bachira with 2. Bachira after begins to follow Isagi around the facility and hang out with him, and even trains with him. This all eventually leads to Team Z's next match, against Team Y. Isagi starts at half field with the ball, and passes it straight away to Bachira. Let's go, Isagi. Bachira dribbles past his first defender and sends the ball into open space. Isagi appears right there, but someone else was running with him. Iki Nico stood right beside Isagi, telling him that he's out of his shooting range right here. He then lifts his hair, revealing his eyes. As he looked at the face of Isagi, his expression remained the same, as he only side-eyed him. In one motion, he stops running with the ball, and Nico is left still running. Out of my range, you say. Isagi then shoots from way outside the keeper's box and still scores. Those eyes you possess are useless when on the pitch with someone who outclasses you in every way possible. Isagi walks back to his starting position, getting stares from everyone. His team complains that he doesn't pass, and he speaks up. Alright then, the rest of you can do as you please. Bachira, you could be striker. Alright. Team Z swaps around their positions, and the match continues. Team Y gets the ball and passes it around and makes it to the defense. Nico scores a goal and looks over to Isagi, ready to trash talk him, but he wasn't even looking towards him, only towards the roof of the building. He doesn't even care that his team just got scored on. Yoichi then walks over, grabbing Isagi by his collar. Why the hell didn't you help us defend? Why would I? I'm a striker. I left that job for the defenders, who are just pretending to be strikers right now. I wouldn't have either, if you guys would have just stole the ball in the midfield like I do, and then scored. Why you little... Isagi then grabs the wrist of Daichi, and punches him in the stomach so that none of the cameras could see. This caused him to now lean over the left shoulder of Isagi in pain. Touch me again, and I'll cut out your tongue in your sleep. Got it? Yoichi nods, and then walks away. Team Y would score another goal, and then play keep away with the ball until halftime. When in the locker room, Team Z wonders how they can turn the game around at this point. Bachira, with a towel on his head, says that he has an idea. Kunigami then asks him what it was. Bachira then pointed towards Isagi, who sat, not even sweating, just silent in the room. His arms were folded and his eyes were closed. As he would open them, noticing everyone staring at him. "What the hell do you want?" Kunigami then stated that he should go back to Striker and help them win. "It's funny you believe I'm helping you. I'm only helping myself, whether you like it or not. I'll pass this selection and make it to the next and keep going forward. I'm going to run through this facility and defeat anyone in my way." Bachira stands up, putting his hand out to Isagi. "Let's go kick some ass then." Isagi hits the hand out of his way and stands up. "If you all want to win, just get me the ball." Isagi leaves the locker room and steps back onto the pitch with his team. Team Y starts the kickoff and the ball goes to Okawa, who then tries to step through the middle, but is taken by Isagi. You really need to pay attention to where you're going. Isagi keeps dribbling forward only to hear another voice. "Maybe you should take your own advice." Nico and Okawa both then press Isagi while running with the ball, trying to steal it from him. He keeps going forward with little trouble at all, as the keeper doesn't know what to do as he keeps getting closer. The opposing keeper then runs out, and Isagi chips the ball over him for another goal. What a terrible defense. For a team that prioritizes counterattacks, you all are shit. Isagi then walks off with Team Y, angered at him. They ran back down trying to get the last goal, with Nico finding Oko right inside of the box. However, it's stolen by Isagi, who then rips it forward to Bachira, who traps the ball and moves past the defense in front of them. All of Team Z and Y run down the pitch, and Bachira sends it into the box. Gagamura dives for a header, but it's short, as Yoichi says he passed the ball too far forward. Bachira shakes his head, pointing even further. That pass was made only for a true striker. Here is where we see Isagi pulling his leg back and scoring the final goal of the match, as this earns him not only a 7th goal, but also a hat trick in just 2 matches. Isagi walks back with his team celebrating, walking right through the team that he had just defeated as they sat on the ground crying or in anguish, or both. It feels good to remind trash where they belong, and that's off the pitch. The ranks between the groups then change after this, and Isagi is bumped all the way to 265, with Bachira now at 266. That night, Team Z would celebrate their 2nd win, but notice Isagi isn't there. Bachira tells them all that, don't even bother, he's training. Chigiri takes his time to ask Bachira what Isagi is like when he's not around the team, since he's the only one who's been around him, and Isagi doesn't seem to hate Bachira at all. Bachira laughs and tells him that he's amazing. Here, I'll tell you a story about the last time we trained together. This is where we would enter a flashback of only a couple days ago. Isagi was working on his technique when Bachira entered the field as well. How about some one-on-one? It's a waste of my time. You can't possibly get past me like that. Bachira bets lunch on it, and then he loses. Each time the ball is stolen by Isagi, who puts little effort into it. Bachira was seen exhausted on the ground with his hands on his knees, looking towards Isagi. You're amazing. Let me ask you something. Do you want to rely on your allies to make your own goals as a striker? Bachira pauses for a moment, almost going with the first choice. But he doesn't know. Should he rely on his allies? Or should he be able to make his own goals? But then he remembers where he is. He's in blue lock. He must become a striker that can create his own goal at will. So he tells this to Isagi. Alright, get up. I'll show you something that may prove useful to you. This will turn you into the 2nd best player on our team. I'll only show you this once, so pay attention. Bachira stands straight up, and the training holograms would appear on the pitch. He watches as Isagi dribbles right through each of them with a combination of chaotic moves. It's a style that works perfectly with the personality of Bachira. Isagi then scores on the fake keeper and turns back to Bachira. Did you see it? Bachira nods and Isagi passes him the ball. Show me then. The monster on the inside of him begins smiling, knowing he's growing because of this guy. Who knew there was a player like this in the world? The flashback then ends as we see Bachira staring at his hands, remembering exactly how to replicate this feeling of chaos on the pitch. Team Z then gets word of their next match and begins preparing for it. Isagi doesn't participate in any of their team meetings or film watching. He continues only to train alone. The rest of Team Z makes a plan to stop the twins on the pitch as match day arrives after only a couple days and Team Z is ready to face their opponents. Isagi goes to the center of the field and stands with the ball, where the twins begin to talk trash on him. Isagi tilts his head back, glaring at them, which gets one of them to shut up. Something is off about their opponent. They just don't know it. Isagi passes the ball to Bachira, who gives it right back to him. Isagi begins dribbling forward with one of the twins guarding him. Sorry, but it won't be that easy to get past me. I know all your moves. Is that so? Isagi then shoots the ball, which would slam right into the face of Yoichi, the other twin, and it knocks him out. The play then stops as he's escorted off the field as he can't play with a concussion. Kisuke turns to Isagi angrily, asking him why he did that, but Isagi smirks. Why are you complaining? You still have more players than us, don't you? Isn't that right, Kuon? In the midfield, Kuon begins laughing, telling Team Z, even with one of their players down, they still have one more. The rest of Team Z starts to yell towards Kuon, but Isagi tells them all to shut up. He's just a pawn. He hasn't even scored any goals yet, so his plan won't even work. What makes him think he'll get past this selection? The play starts again when Isagi begins dribbling the ball forward and scores another goal. As Isagi walked down the side of the field, Kunigami asked him to give him a chance with the ball, as he only looked up at him. Will you score? Yes. Isagi then turns to Bachira. What do you think? Let's give him a chance. It might be exciting to see what he can do. Kisuke passes the ball to Kuon, who dribbles against his own team. Bachira and Kunigami stop him and pass the ball back up to Isagi, who is surrounded by 3 players. All of you have your heads way too high. Make sure you bow when in my presence on the pitch. Isagi breaks their ankles with quick dribble moves, knocking them down to their backs. He goes forward and then heel passes it to Kunigami, who stood right behind him. The taller player watched as the ball rolled towards him and looked up, realizing he was out of his shooting range. As he looked forward, the piercing eyes of Isagi commanded him to shoot. He swings his left leg and the ball goes into the top right corner. He shouts with excitement, walking over to Isagi, putting his hand out, thanking him for the assist. Isagi ignores Kunigami and continues to play. Even with Kuon on the team, it does nothing for a team who can't get past Isagi. In the final moments before a half, Kunigami takes another shot but is blocked by the keeper. The ball was then seen in open space where Kuon would get it. He then looked up the field only to see Isagi in his field of view. The ball is stolen as he would dribble into the box, as this is where Kisuke steps up to stop his shot. Isagi performs a rainbow, flicking the ball over his head and his opponent, landing right back on his ankle, as he was now one-on-one with the keeper. Bow to me. My orders are absolute. Isagi breaks the ankles of the keeper, causing him to fall to the ground, and he holds the ball right on the goal line while looking down at him. Pathetic. As he would then score another goal, as this sends him into the halftime. In the locker room, Team Z starts to fight with Kuon. Kunigami stops Yoichi from punching him, and Isagi pulls the blonde away from them. Thanks for your help. Kunigami puts out his hand once again, but Isagi ignores him, and now sits on the chest of Kuon, who is on the ground. Don't you think it's an honor that you get to play on my team? So why betray my loyalty? You're supposed to be like a dog and listen. Kuon tells Isagi that this is blue lock and he has no authority. Isagi then laughs coldly, as no one knew what he was going to do until he punched Kuon in the face. Kunigami tries to pull Isagi off of him, but isn't able to even lift him. Wait a minute. Just why is he so heavy? Isagi keeps punching Kuon until blood was seen on his knuckles. Try that again, and I'll cut out your eyes in your sleep. Isagi gets up as they would head back onto the pitch and win the game with him scoring 4 goals, Kunigami with 2, and Bachiro with 1. After their match, Isagi goes alone to continue his training, as later that night in the dining room he was eating alone. As he sits to eat, 3 people sit down with him. Zantetsu, Ryo, and Nagi sit down in front of him eating. Isagi ignores them, only looking down focusing on his food. Ryo coughs, but he doesn't even look up. Damn it. I know you see us. Isagi, still eating, asked them what they wanted. Oh, nothing. We just wanted to greet our next opponent face to face. You've scored the most goals for Team Z. You must be quite the striker. The best. That's impossible, because Nagi is much better than you. Isagi looks up and twisted his head around, seeing no one else in the dining room. Now he turns around and asks who? Nagi raises his hand while playing a handheld game. Isagi looks down at him and stands up. You're wasting your potential on someone like him. Ryo tries to argue, but Isagi ignores him, walking away, as he had already finished his food. Team Z would once again try to get Isagi to make a strategy with them, but he ignores him each time. Isagi goes to the training room, and someone else would also walk in. Baru looks down at Isagi, asking what makes him so special. It's simple. Losing is not an option for me. Winning is everything. Baru then passes him the ball and gets in a defensive stance. Alright then. Show me, you peasant. Isagi sighs. What does that make you if I'm a peasant? 'Cause you're below me. I'm the king, of course. You're such a bothersome opponent. You're more like an insect. It doesn't matter how you oppose me. I'll still crush you. As he says this, Baru falls to the ground on his ass. What the? How did you do that? I've told you before. My orders are absolute. On and off the pitch. Isagi shoots the ball that goes into the top corner. Baru then looks towards him. He's a complete monster. There's no way he's just at rank 265. Isagi keeps practicing alone for the next couple of days, and soon, match day arrives. While suiting up in the locker room, Bachira tells Isagi that this is going to be a good match. Whatever, it'll always end the same, and my victory alone. Team Z heads out and gets in their starting position. Bachira receives the ball and looks up. Oh, not too bad at all. He combines different skill moves to get past his opponents as he floats the ball into the middle, where Zantetsu tries to steal it from Isagi, who would trap the ball with his chest, and scores even with 2 defenders on him. Isagi and Nagi lock eyes. Nice trick. Ryo, I want to do that. The rest of Team Z is confused until Ryo and Nagi duplicate their play. They score, and now it was tied again. Ryo looks to Isagi, who only stared towards Nagi. You'd be the perfect wing player for Japan. But I'm a striker. Huh. That's too bad. I already know who the best midfielder is, and he's waiting on me to complete this training. You could have helped us win the next decade of World Cups. Isagi gives the ball to Kunigami, who uses his size to then get through. He sees open space on the left side and sends it that way. Team V's defenders head towards the ball, but a red blur kicks it first. Chigiri looks up, seeing Zantetsu running with him. So, it's a battle of speed. Well, I've got you beat. Zantetsu steals the ball and sends it to the middle where Ryo was standing. After trapping the ball, he twisted his body only to see Isagi standing in his way. You think you're so special, huh? Let me show you how special we are. He attempts to run right by Isagi, who only sticks his leg out and gets possession of the ball. Who said I was special? Being special means you were born with skill and talent. That's where your assumption is wrong, you mutt. I was born with skill, but I also trained my ass off to be the very best. Isagi runs forward, breaking through the defense and shooting the ball. It travels so fast while in air, it goes right through the space between the keeper's gloves. Team Z was now winning once again as Nagi walked over to Ryo, as something was different about him. Hey Ryo, for some reason, I'm getting excited about playing football. This boosted the spirit of Ryo, who gave it to Nagi. The young prodigy dribbles right through Team Z and gets close to the goal, but passes to Zantetsu on the outside. Good pass, Nagi. Whatever, hurry up and give it back. Do not rush excellence. He crosses the ball over to Nagi, who scores with a bicycle kick. And for those listening who don't know what that means, it's basically doing a backflip while also scoring a goal. Everyone on Team Z pauses for a moment, realizing Isagi was the one who caused Nagi's true potential to begin awakening. Nagi himself would also note this and looks towards his opponent. Isagi stood there with not a care in the world at all. That was impressive, but let me show you what happens when I begin to take a match very seriously. The air on the pitch becomes cold and intense. Team Z felt so pressured that none of them dared to speak at all. Isagi gives the ball to Yoichi, who then looks up. He goes to take a step right against an opponent, but stops. He locks eyes with Isagi and passes it to Chigiri, who sprints off. Zantetsu runs with him, telling him that it won't be possible for him to beat him in a contest of speed. Chigiri then has flashbacks of his old team and the mental blocks that are on his legs. Suddenly, these mental chains are broken by the feeling of fear of disappointing Isagi at this point. Chigiri reaches a faster top speed and crosses the ball from the corner. Isagi jumps for it, but two others would jump with him. Ryo and Nagi tried to get the ball midair, but they would notice Isagi rose even higher than them, as he only looked down at them. The skies are fit for those blessed enough to reach them. Isagi headed the ball into the back of the net, scoring the last goal before half. Ryo and Nagi both fell to the ground, looking up at Isagi, who had no expression on his face. He wouldn't even say anything. He only walked off into the locker room of Team Z, which would be completely silent. No one even wanted to say anything. Their break was running out, and they hadn't made any plans for the next half. Isagi stands up with a serious expression. Get me the ball so I can squash these bugs before me. In the final half, Isagi scores 3 more goals, giving him a grand total of 17 goals. Ryo, Nagi, and Zantetsu all lay on the ground in defeat. Isagi walks over to Nagi, putting out his hand and helping him up. You could become the best wing player in all of Japan if you were to follow in my footsteps. I already told you, I play striker. Yeah, I heard you say that, but you don't even know what that means. Do you? Until you face someone like me, you relied only on your natural talents. But while facing me, you begin to try even harder. Once you figure out the reason for doing so, come find me. Isagi walks off with Team Z, who would celebrate that night, as Isagi still goes off to train, even though they don't have any more matches coming up. Ego was watching him on the cameras and would only smile. His assistant comments on his work ethic, saying it's very impressive, and Ego keeps smiling. Right now, those in the top ranks are working as well. Isagi knows this and is preparing to destroy them while his team gets some rest. That's the difference between him and them. Isagi knows what he has to do to keep improving, as he knows he's not even at the top yet. That's why he enjoys being in Blue Lock. It would cut to Isagi on the pitch as he would smile after scoring multiple goals. The next day, Ego has them preparing for the second selection, Days of exhausting training go by, but this was nothing to Isagi, as he's put himself through way worse. Once the training was over, Team Z walked through doors and entered a brand new area with multiple people. The first face Isagi sees is one that turns to him in anger. Bachira asks why the taller player was glaring down at him, and Isagi only walked his way. "How have you been, Rin?" I'm gonna end the video here, as we've covered up to 40 chapters in Blue Lock. That doesn't mean there won't be another part. Well, I don't know. I just want to go through each selection as its own video. If I see that this video does well and I feel like doing another part, I definitely will start working on it. Just know that videos like this do take a lot of time and a lot of effort, since I always want the story to be good for my listeners and I want them to enjoy every part of it. Also, keep checking my community tab because I will let you know if there will be another part, as there most likely will based on how much you guys like the first one. Also, for those who don't check my community tab, I'm going back and I'm going to rewrite a lot of my unfinished videos, so be ready for those, because I know a lot of you missed those series. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and also subscribing so you don't miss out on more content like this on my channel. My name is Zero, and I'll catch you all on the next one.